Without any further ado, I'd love to welcome to the stage Gideon Powell.
I was told to make a presentation, so we just vibe coded this. So this is my presentation. Yeah, I love coming to Bitcoin Park. I truly love Bitcoin mining. So I'm going to talk about like my whole focus, why God put me on this earth has to do with the latent energy potential, both in the current understanding of energy and then in the ethereal space of the human energy potential that resides in all of us. But if anyone has a burning question, like it's fun to get up here and mansplain things. But you know, if you've got a question or you want a tangential thought, you want to go down, just raise your hand. You know, I've spoken. What son? Okay, Micah. Yes, this is my son, Micah. His initials are MVP. And almost everything I do rolls up to accelerating something between a father and a son. So really, I'll kind of lead with this. I really like, I don't know who said it first, but I like this, this mental model of the cone of uncertainty. And, you know, where I have found the greatest fulfillment, where I just get the best vibes, is it took me some time to understand. I grew up in an oil and gas business. My dad was a wildcatter. My mom loved philanthropy. Like there was just a lot of stuff I got exposed to as a young kid. But where I was happiest was creating. And I don't do well with instructions. I never do well with like, here's how things should be. And so I remember one of my youngest memories is we bought a new refrigerator. I got a cardboard box. And I just started like turning it into a tank, and I literally, and my mom saw me, I'd get the toilet paper, cardboard things, and then I would glue straws around it. And then I would, kind of tape that to this box, and then I'd pull a string and it looked like a Gatling gun. And this was just like me taking maximum uncertainty and creating. It's art. And my mom saw that, she nurtured that, she got me an art kind of coach or something who helped me take just a little idea. Next thing you know, we're building huge things out of cardboard and just taking the ideas that exist in my mind and bringing them into this thing we call the universe. And that was so fulfilling. And, I was tempted early on to think of myself as an oil guy, because after college, I got in the oil business because my father encouraged me and I saw his love for that industry. But over time, I was able to deconstruct. I'm not in the oil and gas business per se. What I enjoy is where is the most latent potential and how do we apply our unique skill sets to go solve problems. And so I spent several years, my team and I built the first Bitcoin mine in West Texas. No one had ever done that before. And everyone in the data center industry in 2017 kept telling us, like, this is dumb. And everyone also kept telling me to hedge by, hey, don't talk about this as a Bitcoin mining project. Hold on, Micah, you can get the microphone later. Damn, son. Everyone kept telling me this is a data center. It's not a Bitcoin mine. And I just told them all to shut up because the Bitcoin's coming, and it was so fun to have, great guys like Parker and I were friends early, where there's this, in 2017, there was pain and suffering. It was like Bitcoin is still really, really new. But over time, we really discovered this the uniqueness of what Bitcoin mining does. And I think specifically what it does for energy systems is it takes the maximum uncertainty, a true close your eyes, where does the greatest potential energy reside? And this is an abstract question we'll be chasing the rest of our life. But what Bitcoin mining is doing, and what Cholla, our Bitcoin mining business, or what I call upstream energy exploration and development company does, is we are wildcatters. We have zero interest in following a herd mentality. Oil and gas pays for my lifestyle. It's awesome. My dad drilled 50 wells a year. He loved putting holes in the earth. And so we've built upon that mindset of a kind of militant focus, and we partner with Bitcoin miners. So Rob mentioned the Bitcoin or the Cholla Innovation Lab. What I saw early on was a huge aversion to Bitcoin mining in the capital markets and a huge aversion to do independent thinking. There's this herd mentality, this mimetic desire. And so when I first tried to raise money for a Bitcoin mining deal, all the investors that we met with, and we met with a lot of them, they all said, oh, this is really cool, great job, so exciting, oh my gosh, when you get your first investor, call me. And that just pissed me off because I was like, dude, I've done math, here's this opportunity, why wouldn't you work with us? And so that's where it was kind of born, this like, look, there is so much potential. Like my granddad had a 6th grade education, his dad died, and he went to work. And that pain and suffering early in his life in South Texas, going up to East Texas, laid the foundation of hardship, which he turned that uncertainty of what do you do when you're a kid who's in the 6th grade and you suddenly find yourself the man of the house. No one's coming for you. Like, you got to suck it up and you got to provide. So you have to quit overthinking stuff. And so what I'm really trying to do these days, my team and I are focused on is there is an unimaginable amount of talent in America, in Texas, in the world. And historically, if you wanted to innovate in the energy space, you either need to be born incredibly wealthy or, and like your family was in it, or you need to work at some huge company where you're going to lose your soul because it's, fiat slop in there, and the innovation is just not going to progress. So what Cholla and our entire ecosystem of our loose federation is working towards is I truly believe, and I've already seen it, so it's an empirical certainty, that there is so much talent out there that is latent. That's that human energy piece. And what Bitcoin mining does, it has done and will continue to do well into the singularity, is it will allow us to absolutely look into the future, look at some desert thing like West Texas used to be and say, what exists here? And it's, the sun is going everywhere. There's all these other types of energy sources. But what DC squared represents is a vision, it's a commercial strategy, but it's what I believe the Bitcoiners are here to solve. And right now there is two ways to transmit electricity. There's alternating current, which is what most of our society is built upon, and there were reasons for that. But now, when you look at, do the first principles, what is the best energy engineering? It's direct current. So what this really shows is we as Bitcoiners can embrace uncertainty. If you're in Bitcoin now, if you're here in this room now, you are early. You can look, you can understand, either you actually read the protocols of Bitcoin, you understood its principles and how it upgrades the really America's principles and what America was founded on, the rule of law, civil liberties, the principles of human progress. What Bitcoin does is it updates that protocol logic into a digital medium. And so Bitcoin mining and Bitcoin is at the bleeding edge. So there's a lot more talk in my Twitter sphere or X about, all these Bitcoin miners are pivoting to AI, and they are. But Cholla is not. We are not an AI company. What we are I know, Micah, I don't like the AI either. But so what we want to do is we want to build an ecosystem of entrepreneurs who have ideas and love solving problems. And what Bitcoin mining has done is it allows you to take proven research in the lab that is uneconomical and get it in to be field tested immediately. A few of us were at the Paris Bitcoin Week almost 2 years ago, which is literally in Paris. There's another small conference called Seagray. It's like 20,000 people. But it's all the world's grid experts. AI had just come out, so me and my team were able to sit with some of the world's grid experts and talk about what we're doing in Texas. And they were like, we've got all these ideas. Like we were talking with the Japanese, the Koreans, the Colombians, the Chinese, like all these people had these, these research ideas, and they couldn't imagine that we could take their research and deploy it in the field immediately. It was just previously unimaginable. And then we were telling them what we're doing in Texas. We're swinging gigawatts. We are absolutely using the Controllable Load Resource Program to be an asset to the ERCOT grid. And ERCOT has a global brand. And so we've used Bitcoin mining as a Trojan horse, a civil, peaceful Trojan horse to enter the electrical industry, and the data center industry. So there's a lot of great things that data centers do. They have ASHRAE data center specifications. They know how to, really do great engineering, but uncertainty is really, really hard for them. And especially a lot of these big technologies companies, these are ones and zeros software innovators, and scaling software versus scaling physical energy infrastructure is a totally different capability. So all the Bitcoin miners who have been plugging in compute and just like literally doing whatever you need to do to survive the last several years, this has laid a groundwork. We've built out supply chains. We built out knowledge networks. We built out operating capabilities. And so right now we need infinite energy and infinite compute. That's kind of crazy. Like, yes, it is a mathematical certainty. Until you can show me the universe has limits, then I will consider conceding that maybe we don't need infinite energy. But obviously the universe is infinite and we need infinite energy, infinite compute. So the role that I see the Bitcoin miners playing is absolutely going to the bleeding edge. I mean, it pisses me off that some other company already put a Bitcoin miner in space, but like there is no reason. The physics is sound. And then all the latent energy of the terrestrial Earth, it is just sitting there. But the data centers, the AI groups that need that, they're built to scale proven systems. They have no idea. And this is what 8 years ago, we went to West Texas and the vision was really simple. It was Bitcoin mining is at the bleeding edge. We need to stand up entire new capabilities of service companies. We need to build out an entire economy for this new type of compute. And 8 years ago, parallel processing compute that's latency agnostic was our nerd term. AI was kind of like one of the categories, movie rendering. But now compute can go anywhere. This is a complete 0 to 1 holy shit moment for the world's latent energy systems. And so I think it is up to the Bitcoiners to look not what's the most proven. West Texas is kind of proven, but there's still a hell of a lot of juice to squeeze out there. But Africa, Latin America, Europe, all of these places, they do not have the ecosystems and the supply chains of oil and gas that West Texas does. They don't have the skills. They don't have the training at scale. And so what the Bitcoin miners can continue to do is to look around the world, self-organize. I mean, that's what's crazy. You can get on the internet. Literally, I got on LinkedIn and was like, okay, hey, I'm going to Paris, France. Are there any Bitcoiners? Sure enough, we found 3. We went to dinner with them. They were all values aligned. They were also said there's no hope for France, which us arrogant Texans took as an invitation of challenge. And so the second annual Paris Bitcoin Week is August 23rd to 28th, which is kind of an inverse corollary to the South by Southwest. What do? We didn't get invited in. The Bitcoiners weren't invited into South by Southwest. So what do? We didn't bitch, moan. We just created our own. Whatever that, what are we calling this thing? Bitcoin takeover. So we're literally leaning into the principles of human progress, of volunteerism and self-organizing. And so this is what, if we're not invited in, it takes like the ERCOT grid and every grid in America. You're talking about 100 years of bureaucracy built on a rules-based system. And it's really hard to change that. But we can either keep engaging with ERCOT, which I'm definitely going to do, but we can run parallel paths. We can also stand up entire new energy systems that are supportive. So that's what we call Grid Plus. But I think one of the most important things is really thinking about what I've done and what I've been blessed with is the ability to sit and dream and think about what do I want my life to be. And what I want is to spend more time with my family. What I want is to see my friends succeed. What I want is guys like my granddad who couldn't rub 2 nickels together, but somebody believed in them. Somebody believed in my granddad, gave him a shot, and that meant that his grandson gets to literally drive around, fly around, hang out with his friends, take his son everywhere, his great-grandson, and literally just interact with people and show them what's possible. But if you take anything away, it's this direct current, which means direct current, direct control. It's bigger than compute. Direct current's coming. It's here. Its time has arrived. The only question is, who's going to lead it? And when I look back, I think in history, and we've got America's 250th birthday, which we could think of as a birthday, but we could also think a little bit bigger. That's the relaunch of America. So the last 250 years, it wasn't perfect. We made mistakes. But every single progression in history is a continuation of a pioneering spirit of these principles. And my belief is that as we stare at this impending date of July 4th of this year, we all have a chance to be a part of a narrative. We can all be the people that define what this upcoming 250th years looks like. And my hope and my ambition is this is the spawn of a true next enlightenment where energy is truly abundant, where we live in a world of abundance that is not depressing, but is one of where we're able to self-select into hardships. Pain and suffering is good. I have a lot of pain and suffering. I have a child who attempted suicide. I have a son with special needs, and nothing in my life is hard anymore. Nothing, because when I saw and how you have these lived experiences of pain and suffering, if your mindset is that of good and how glorious it is, and God put you on this earth to something, and it's not to sit on a beach and relax and feel good, it is to go out and create. It is to take a viewpoint on the future and to look, what do I want this to be? Not what do I want my legacy to be? I hope I'm not remembered in history. My hope is that this moment in time, this upcoming 250th year relaunch, is a moment where Bitcoiners self-organized, embraced volunteerism, and truly leaned into the greatest frontiers of uncertainty and solved problems to unlock infinite compute and infinite energy needs needed to ensure that any child out there that's neurodivergent has the access to abundant energy, to abundant AI that allows them to communicate and utilize the vibes that God gave them to interact in a more peaceful and prosperous way.